How do athletes motivate themselves? We've seen Kevin Durant, who wears number 35 because of his late high school coach, who unfortunately was killed. And we have seen it with Gilbert Arenas. Those are the two that I thought of. I'm sure you guys can think of a few others. But Gilbert Arenas wore number 0 because everyone said that he would be nothing, thus 0. So Mario Balotelli, AC Milan striker, former Manchester City and Inter Milan. He's played for many great clubs. He motivates himself in a different way. So if we could pull up the pictures of his cleats, those are newspaper clippings that he has put over his cleats as 3 companies are battling for his services and a contract right now. We believe that to be at least Adidas and Nike. I don't know exactly who the third might be, possibly Puma. But you see it right there. I love this. I love it. Because you know what? He's dealt with a lot of shit. Granted, maybe it's warranted with a lot of the antics that he has done and had. He also blacked out the cleats on the left, obviously, because, again, he's basically a free agent and 3 companies are battling for him. But I mean, I love this. It's just like you look down at it and you think, you know what? Fuck those people who wrote this stuff about me. I'm going to go out every single day. I'm going to bust my ass on the pitch, and I'm going to show them so they better shit to write about me.
I mean, that or he's just, it's a business decision, and they look awesome, and he knows that somebody's going to give him a lot of money, and he's got some cool shoes.
Or the reason why I did it is exactly what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Newsworthy. So we just talk about it.
Maybe.
But I mean, those are actually like very well done. Like they look like
pull them up one more time.
They're actually done like, you know, well crafted, like on the tongue and everything. It's not like it was.
Those are awesome.
It looked like he went to a company and was like, I want you to do this. It wasn't like he was at home with a glue stick and was like, I'm gonna put my pieces of my articles on there. You know, it looks like it was really well done and crafted.
I love the "Why Always Me" right there. That was against AS Roma, by the way, of course, of the Serie A League.
I think if you put a Nike swoosh on them, they're just as cool.
Everybody's like, you put a Nike swoosh on, they're like, I want those. And now it's like it's different. I bet you and they really might do that after that.
Let me ask you this. Playing for the Carolina Panthers, among many other teams, were there any athletes, obviously who you played with, that wore something on their sleeve, they wore an undershirt, they put something on their shoes? I mean, was there anything that they did to motivate themselves?
Like certain significant moments in their life, or like you said with Kevin Durant.
Anything just to serve as like, I have this on my arm or what have you, just to motivate myself through a game or through practice? I
know Steve Smith used to write on his shoes like certain like Bible verses or like just like certain different things, and guys write on their towels, especially a lot of stuff on the tapes or wrist. They would write like some sort of like either a saying, like I would put like believe on here a couple times or something, because every time I would spit on my hands for the gloves, I would look at my hands and like, you know, it's time to, you know, so it's different things that everybody has a little certain quirks.
Were there any life experiences with your teammates or even with you personally that was like, okay, not like that you need to do it, but that you just wrote it down to serve as a reminder?
You know, nothing that I can remember. I remember seeing some stuff like guys, like maybe a local, something happened like the school shootings or something, and somebody like takes the heart, so a player would like do something out of his way to represent for those kids. You know,
Andre Drummond 2 days ago wrote every single kid from the Sandy Hook name on his shoes.
Really?
Yeah, that's
and then donated them to the school.
Very
So
nice.
it's really cool stuff that they do, especially when it's a local, when you're a team, it affects the whole community. You know, so
I like hearing those stories, and I like seeing, you know, not only with Balotelli, but with Drummond and with Arenas, even though Arenas gets a lot of criticism, and maybe it's warranted, maybe it's not. But I like seeing those sorts of stories where not even stories, just those moments where, you know, Fox Sports will maybe dig a little deeper, ESPN will dig a little deeper on their coverage and say, oh yeah, he's wearing that because of this happened in his life, or that happened in his life. Everyone motivates themselves differently, and certainly athletes have that.
It also shows the fact that like there's more than just athletes. You know, like we're not just always just so clear cut and like we're strong willed. Like we get affected by things, or like things phase us, and it shows like it goes deeper. Like you said, they'll do a little story, a background, and be like, oh, that guy's actually like not an asshole. Right. Or he's not a real. He might come off as you're like, I hate that guy for some reason. You're like, why? You don't even know him. Then you see something about him, and the main thing was a lot of people hit me up about after the 30 for 30 with Maurice Claret. They're like, he actually was like a kind of cool dude, huh? I'm like, yeah, because you guys all assumed that he was just a guy that, you know, did this and made everybody trouble and turned us back to the university. You really realize, like, when you see the true story, you're like, this guy's actually not a bad guy. Yeah. So I like when they do things like that.
And what did Chris Collinsworth say about you?
Oh, he came to my practice that one day, and he was like, I'm going to take Drew Carter to my skills training school for agility. And I was like, well, was like, what the fuck? And then, but the best part about it was Steve Smith. That's when you love a guy like Steve Smith.
Yeah.
I remember, I think he was at the Pro Bowl, and he said something like, to the camera on the sideline, he was like, Chris Quinn, I remember when you dropped that big pass it was like a playoff game. It like called him out on it.
Way.
He's like, you're always talking about us, but I remember when you dropped that big pass in the playoff game back in the day. So that's the stuff you love with Steve Smith.
It benefits to have Steve Smith.
There's no filter with him, so sometimes it works out with you. Yeah.